The stranger's car stops in the rain. People run. Kalaya Monroe doesn't notice. She's on her knees in a Busan alley, her 6-year-old son dying in her arms. Zaire's lips, blue now, not pink, part for air that won't come. His fingernails dig into her wrist. His eyes roll back. "Help!" she screams. "Somebody help!" A car door opens behind her. Footsteps. Then the crowd scatters like roaches when the lights come on. A shopkeeper slams his gate shut. An old woman makes the cross and runs. A businessman drops his umbrella and disappears into the rain. The stranger crouches beside her. Expensive suit, Korean features, eyes like black glass. "How long?" His voice cuts through the storm. "What?" How long since he breathed? Kalaya's brain fractures. "I don't, maybe a minute." He reaches for Zaire. She yanks her son back. "Don't touch him. I'm his only chance." "I don't know you." "You will." He lifts Zaire from her arms like her permission doesn't matter. Carries him to the black sedan. 2 more cars appear from nowhere. Men in suits pouring out, blocking the street. Kalaya stumbles after them. "What are you doing?" The stranger lays Zaire across the back seat, barks something in Korean, turns back to her with rain dripping from his hair. "Get in or bury him." Not a threat, a fact. Choose. Her legs move. She climbs in. The door slams. The car accelerates hard enough to snap her head back. Through the window she watches Busan blur. The stranger speaks without turning around. Pressure point, base of his throat, 2 fingers. "Now." "What?" "Do it or he's gone in 30 seconds. Her shaking fingers find Zaire's throat. Press where he says. Zaire's body convulses, then gasps. Air floods his lungs. Color rushes back to his face. He coughs, sputters, breathes. Kalaya sobs into his hair. "Thank you, God. Thank you. Don't thank me yet." The car stops at a glass building that rises into the rain like a knife. Doctors wait at the entrance. They knew to be ready. How? Zaire gets carried inside by hands she doesn't recognize. A terrified nurse guides Kalaya through doors that hiss shut behind her. The lobby smells like money. Real medicine. The kind that works. A doctor appears, sees the stranger, bows so low his spine curves. "Mr. Han," he whispers, "we're prepared." The name hits Kalaya like cold water. Han. Han Jun-seok, the ghost, the king, the man even criminals fear. She just let him save her son. Before we dive deeper, besties, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. It's the simplest way to support this channel and keep these powerful emotional stories coming your way every day. Also, leave a comment and tell me where you're watching from and what time it is there. Let's see how far this beautiful journey of love and destiny has reached. The stranger, Han, watches her face change as the realization hits. "You didn't know who I was," he says quietly. Her voice breaks. "Would it have mattered?" It should have. Zaire breathes behind glass doors now. Oxygen mask, steady chest, alive. Because of this man. This monster. Kalaya looks at Han Jun-seok, at the doctors who bow, the nurses who tremble, the guards who wait for his next word, and realizes she just traded her soul to save her son. The doctor's clipboard clatters to the floor. His hands shake too hard to hold it. He stands 3 feet from Han Jun-seok, eyes locked on the marble tiles, speaking to the ground like it's safer than looking up. The child's bronchial passages were 90% closed, he whispers. Another 2 minutes, his voice cracks. "We've stabilized him. Full recovery. No permanent damage." Han doesn't respond, doesn't nod, doesn't blink, just stands there in his rain-soaked suit, water pooling at his feet, radiating something that makes the air feel thinner. The doctor bows again, backs away, nearly trips over his own feet, leaving. Down the hall, 2 nurses huddle at the station. One pretends to organize, charts. The other suddenly remembers she needs to check a supply room that doesn't exist. A janitor abandons his mop in the middle of the hallway and walks out. Fear doesn't just smell like sweat here, it smells like expensive antiseptic trying to cover it up. Kalia sits beside Zaire's bed, gripping his small hand. His chest rises and falls steady now. Normal. Like the world didn't almost end 23 minutes ago. She should feel relief. Instead, her throat won't unclench. Han stands in the doorway, doesn't enter, doesn't speak, just watches Zaire sleep with an expression that makes her skin crawl. Not because it's cruel, because it's broken. Why? The word scrapes out of her. Why save a stranger's kid? His eyes shift to her. Black ice. Children don't perform, he says. They don't calculate. They're just real. That's not an answer. It's all you're getting. Kalia stands. Her wet jacket drips onto floors that probably cost more than her yearly rent. What do you want from me? Nothing. Nobody saves people for nothing. Silence. Rain hammers the windows. A phone rings somewhere. Stops. Rings again. Han's phone buzzes. He glances at the screen. Every muscle in his body locks. His jaw clenches. His breathing, calm 10 seconds ago, speeds up. His hand moves toward his waist, toward a gun she didn't know was there. Kalia steps forward. What happened? Nothing that concerns you. You saved my son. Everything about you concerns me now. His laugh sounds like something breaking inside a locked room. You should have stayed terrified of me, he says. I am terrified of you. He looks at her. Really looks. Like he's measuring whether she's strong enough for what comes next. My mother pulled a stranger from a burning building, he says quietly. Didn't know his name. My father called it weakness. His voice goes dead. Flat. Empty. He beat her to death in our kitchen. Made me watch. The machines beep. The rain falls. Time stops moving. How old were you? Kalia whispers. 7. Zaire's age. The air leaves her lungs. Han's phone buzzes again. Longer this time. Urgent. He reads the message. Color drains from his face. Leave Busan, he says suddenly. Tonight. Take your son. Disappear. What? Why? Saving him made you visible. He turns toward the door. And old enemies don't forget. Footsteps pound down the hallway. A man in a black suit appears, running, breathless, eyes wide with something that looks like terror. Sir. He gasps for air. They know about the woman and the child. Han's hand closes around his gun. How many? We don't know. But they're already watching the building. If someone powerful wanted you dead, would you run or fight? Drop your answer below. The cafe bell chimes at 11:47 p.m. Kalia's hands freeze on the espresso machine. She knows that sound, the way the bell moves when someone pushes the door slow instead of normal, like they're savoring the moment before walking in. We're closed, she calls without turning around, footsteps on tile, heavy, male, familiar. Still lying to me, Kay? Her blood stops moving. Dante Brooks, Zaire's father, the man who put cigarette burns on her arms when she refused to quit her job, who told their son he was weak for crying, who smiled when she finally ran. She turns around slowly. He stands by the counter in a leather jacket that doesn't fit right, gold chain catching the fluorescent light, that same twisted smile she remembers from 3 years ago. Miss me? He asks. Get out. That's cold. He sits at the counter uninvited, especially after I flew all the way to Korea to check on my son. You've never checked on Zaire in your life. Well, he drums his fingers on the marble. Heard he got real sick. Heard you took him to some gangster's private clinic. His smile sharpens. That kind of medicine costs money, Kay. My money. Her jaw clenches. You've never paid for his medicine, not once, but I could take him. He leans forward. Real easy. One call to the right people. Unfit mother. living in poverty, letting criminals near my kid. He's not your kid. You gave that up when you... The door swings open. Han Jun-seok steps inside. The temperature drops. Dante's smile falters. Who the hell are you? Han doesn't answer. Two men in black suits appear behind him. They move like shadows. No sound, no wasted motion. Dante laughs nervously, stands up. Look, man, this is between me and my girl. She's not your girl. You don't know what you're... Han crosses the distance in 3 steps, grabs Dante by the throat, lifts him 6 inches off the ground. Dante's feet kick. His hands claw at Han's wrist. No air comes. You threaten women, Han says quietly, calmly. You threaten mothers. You threaten children. Dante's face turns purple. That ends now. Han drops him. Dante collapses, gasping, hands on his throat. The 2 men drag him toward the door. Dante tries to fight, tries to scream. One of them covers his mouth. They disappear into the rain like he never existed. Kalia stands frozen behind the counter. Han turns to her. Rain drips from his coat onto her clean floors. Why do you care? She whispers. You don't know me. You don't know him. Why do you... My father was like him. Han's voice goes flat, dead, violent, cruel, enjoyed the fear. He pauses. I became what I hated to survive what came after. His phone buzzes. He looks at the screen. His entire face changes. What? Kalia asks. What is it? Han's hand moves to his gun. They found you, he says. Outside, headlights cut through the rain. 3 black vans, not his. Do you think Kalia can escape before they come for her? Comment below. The school playground sits empty. Wrong. Kalia's stomach twists as she stands by the chain-link fence, scanning the rows of backpacks and forgotten toys. Other parents cluster near the entrance, chatting, checking phones. Normal. Everything looks normal, except Zaire isn't. Here. Mrs. Monroe? She spins around. The teacher, young, nervous, Korean, holds a clipboard against her chest like armor. Where's my son? He was picked up 20 minutes ago. The ground tilts. What? By who? A man. He said he was... The teacher checks her notes. He showed identification, said there was a family emergency. Kalia grabs the fence, her knees buckle. What did he look like? Korean, tall, black suit, very polite. Not Dante, one of Han's men. Relief floods through her for exactly 3 seconds before terror replaces it. Why would Han take Zaire without telling her? Unless her phone rings. Unknown number. Her hand shakes so hard she almost drops it. Hello? Breathing on the other end. Heavy, deliberate. Then Dante's voice, cold and sharp. Looking for something. Her legs give out. She hits the pavement. Where is he? She screams. Where's my son? Safe, for now. Background noise, traffic, distant voices, metal scraping concrete. You want him back? Tell your Korean boyfriend to come alone. Pier 7. 2 hours. Please, Dante, he's just a... 2 hours, Kay, or I start mailing you pieces. The line goes dead. Kalia screams. Parents turn, stare. The teacher rushes over. She can't breathe, can't think. The world spins. Her phone rings again. Han. They took him, she sobs before he can speak. They took Zaire. Dante has him. He wants you to come alone or he'll... Where? Pier 7. 2 hours. Silence on the other end. Long enough she checks if he hung up. This is a trap, Han finally says. I don't care. Go get my son. If I walk in there, then don't walk. Run. Crawl. I don't care what you do. Just bring him back. More silence. Please, she whispers. I'm begging you. Han's breath comes through the speaker. Once. Twice. Stay where you are, he says. Don't move. Don't call anyone. I'm sending someone to get you. What are you going to do? What I do best. The line cuts. Kalia sits on the pavement outside her. Son's school shaking, crying, completely powerless. A black sedan pulls up 15 minutes later. The window rolls down. A woman, sharp suit, sharper eyes, gestures her inside. Mr. Han wants you somewhere safe. Kalia climbs in. Safe. The word sounds like a lie. Would you trust a stranger to save your child? Tell me in the comments. The warehouse at Pier 7 smells like rust and rotting fish. Zaire sits tied to a metal chair in the center of the concrete floor, small wrists bound with zip ties, tears streaming down his face. His inhaler lies 10 feet away. Out of reach. Dante paces around him, gun swinging loosely in his right hand. You see, kid, he mutters, your mom made a choice. She picked the wrong man. Now we gotta fix that. Zaire's voice comes out broken. I want my mommy. Yeah? Well, she wants her gangster boyfriend more than she wants you. That's not true. Then where is she? Zaire doesn't answer, just cries harder. Dante crouches in front of him, presses the gun, barrel against Zaire's forehead. You feel that? That's what happens when people don't listen. Outside, tires screech on wet asphalt. Dante stands, smiles. Showtime. The warehouse door crashes open. Han Jun-suk walks in alone. No suit jacket, no guards. Just a white shirt soaked through with rain, hands visible, empty. Where's the boy? His voice echoes off metal walls. Dante laughs, gestures to Zaire with the gun. Right here. Come get him. Han takes 3 steps forward. Dante aims the gun at Zaire's head. That's close enough. Han stops. They stare at each other across 15 feet of concrete and broken dreams. You made a mistake coming here, Dante says. You made a mistake taking him. Big words for a man with no gun. Han's expression doesn't change. I don't need one. Yeah? Dante's finger moves to the trigger. Let's test that. Zaire screams. The sound rips through the warehouse, high, terrified, the kind of scream that shatters things inside people. Han moves, not toward Dante, toward Zaire. Dante fires. The bullet hits Han's shoulder. Blood sprays. Han stumbles but doesn't stop. Grabs Zaire's chair, throws it sideways behind a stack of crates. Dante fires again. Misses. Han charges. Crashes into Dante like a freight train. The gun flies from his hand, skitters across concrete. They hit the ground. Fists. Blood. Bone on bone. Dante gets a hand around Han's throat. Squeezes. Han's face turns red. Then, sirens. Distant but getting closer. Dante's head snaps toward the door. What did you... Han drives his elbow into Dante's face. Bone cracks. Dante screams. Rolls away, scrambles for the gun. His fingers close around it. He aims at Zaire. Nobody moves or the kid. The warehouse door explodes inward. Police flood in, guns drawn, shouting in Korean and English. Dante spins, panicking, gun swinging wild. Han lunges, tackles him. The gun goes off. The bullet buries itself in the ceiling. 3 officers pile on Dante, cuffs click. He's screaming, thrashing, still trying to fight. Han collapses against the wall, blood pouring from his shoulder, breathing hard. Kalia appears in the doorway. She sees Zaire, alive, crying, terrified but alive, and runs. Cuts the zip ties with shaking hands, pulls him into her arms, holds him so tight he gasps. Mommy, I've got you, baby, I've got you. She looks over at Han. Blood soaks his entire left side. His face has gone pale. He's leaning against the wall like it's the only thing holding him up. Why? She whispers. Why would you die for us? Han's eyes meet hers. Because saving you, his voice breaks, saves me. His knees buckle. He hits the concrete. Officers rush toward him, calling for medics, but Kalia sees his eyes closing. Police drag Dante past her. He's screaming her name, threatening, promising revenge. She doesn't hear him, she only hears the silence where Han's breathing should be. Could you forgive someone who saved your child but destroyed their own life? comment your answer. The hospital waiting room smells like burnt coffee and fear. Kalia sits with Zaire curled against her side, his small body shaking even though the blanket covers both of them. Her clothes, still damp from rain and her son's tears, stick to the plastic chair. A detective sits across from them, older, Korean, kind eyes that don't match the notebook in his hands. "Mrs. Monroe," he says gently, "we need your statement." "Later. The sooner we—" I said later. He nods, stands, leaves his card on the chair beside her. Zaire's fingers dig into her arm. "Is he dead?" "No, baby. But there was so much blood. He's strong. He'll be okay." She doesn't know if that's true. 2 hours in surgery, no updates, just silence and waiting, and the clock on the wall ticking loud enough to crack her skull. A nurse appears in the doorway, young, exhausted. "Family of Han Jun Seok?" Kalia stands so fast Zaire almost falls. "How is he?" The nurse hesitates, glances at the armed officer standing by the door, at the 2 men in suits sitting in the corner who definitely aren't hospital staff. "He's stable," she finally says. "The bullet missed major arteries. He'll recover." Relief hits Kalia like a wave. "Can I see him?" "He's asking for you." They follow the nurse down a hallway that smells like disinfectant and secrets, past rooms with closed doors, past security that studies every face. Han's room sits at the end. Guarded. Of course it's guarded. The nurse pushes the door open. Han lies in the hospital bed, left shoulder wrapped in bandages, IV in his arm, skin too pale against white sheets. But his eyes are open, alert. He sees Zaire and something crosses his face. Relief. Pain. Something deeper. "You're okay," he says quietly. Zaire hides behind Kalia's leg. "Thanks to you," Kalia whispers. She moves closer to the bed. "The nurse said the bullet almost— It didn't. You could have died. I've survived worse." Silence stretches between them. Machine beeps, footsteps in the hallway. Kalia sits in the chair beside his bed. "Why did you do it? Really?" Han stares at the ceiling. "Because no child should watch their mother beg for their life," he finally says, "and no mother should have to. Your father taught me that power without purpose is just cruelty." His jaw clenches. "I swore I'd never be him. Then I became worse. You saved my son. After putting him in danger. Dante put him in danger. You brought him home." Han turns his head to look at her. "At what cost?" Before she can answer, the door opens. A man in a police uniform steps inside. Not the kind detective from before. Someone higher. Someone whose presence makes the guard stiffen. "Han Jun Seok," he says formally. "You're under arrest for organized crime, weapons violations, and suspected involvement in 14 unsolved cases." Kalia's breath catches. "He just saved— Please step aside, ma'am." 2 officers enter, cuffs ready. Han doesn't resist, doesn't fight. Just watches Kalia with an expression that breaks something inside her chest. "Take care of him," he says quietly. The officers cuff his wrist to the bed rail. Zaire starts crying. Kalia stands frozen as they read Han his rights, as they list his crimes, as they promise he'll never see freedom again. The man who saved her son, the monster who controls the city. Both, neither, something in between. Police escort her and Zaire from the room. She looks back once. Han's eyes follow her until the door closes. Is he a hero or a criminal? Drop your answer in the comments. The news breaks before sunrise. Busan's Shadow King arrested. After bloody Pier 7 standoff. Kalia watches the TV in her tiny apartment. Zaire asleep on the couch beside her as reporters swarm the hospital. Cameras flash. Microphones thrust forward. Everyone wants the story. The man who controls the underworld. The criminal who saved a child. The monster. The hero. The question nobody can answer. Her phone hasn't stopped ringing. Unknown numbers, reporters, police wanting follow-up statements. She ignores them all. Zaire stirs, opens his eyes. "Mommy? I'm here, baby." "Is he in jail?" She strokes his hair. "Yeah. Because he saved me?" The question splits her chest open. It's complicated. "He wasn't mean to me." Zaire's voice gets smaller. "He was nice." Nice. The word doesn't fit Han Jun-seok, but it's not wrong either. 3 days pass. The detective returns. The kind one, Detective Park. "We need you to testify," he says at her door, "about what happened at the pier. I already gave my statement. The prosecution wants you on the stand. They're charging him with 14 counts. Your testimony could what? Send him to prison for the rest of his life? He's a dangerous man, Mrs. Monroe. He saved my son. After putting him in danger, Kalia's hands shake. Dante put him in danger. Han brought him home." Detective Park sighs. "The law doesn't see it that way." "Then the law's wrong." He leaves his card again. She throws it in the trash. That night, she does something stupid. She goes to see him. The detention center sits on the edge of Busan like a scar. Concrete walls, barbed wire. Guards who study her face too long when she shows her ID. "Visitor for Han Jun-seok," she tells the desk officer. He looks at her like she's insane. "You're not on his approved list. Tell him Kalia Monroe is here." The officer makes a call. His eyebrows rise. He hangs up. "You've got 15 minutes. They lead her through metal detectors, locked doors, hallways that smell like bleach and desperation, into a room divided by plexiglass, chairs bolted to the floor, phone receivers on the wall. Han appears on the other side. Prison jumpsuit, no cuffs. They trust him even less here than outside. His shoulder is still bandaged. He moves carefully, sits slowly, picks up the phone. She does the same. "You shouldn't be here," he says. "I know. It's not safe. Nothing about you is safe." His mouth almost smiles. Almost. "How's Zaire?" "Asking about you. Worried." "Tell him to forget me." "I tried. He won't." Silence stretches between them. A guard watches from the corner. "They want me to testify against you," Kalia says. Han's expression doesn't change. "You should." "What?" "Tell them everything. What I did. Who I am. Help them put me away. You saved my son's life. I've ended others." His voice goes flat. "Children. Mothers. People who didn't deserve it. One good act doesn't erase that." Kalia leans closer to the glass. "Then why do it? Why risk everything for us?" Han stares at her. Really stares. Like he's trying to memorize her face. "Because when I looked at Zaire," he whispers, "I saw myself at 7. Terrified, helpless. Watching violence I couldn't stop." He pauses. "I couldn't save that child, but I could save yours." Tears burn Kalia's eyes. "What happens now?" "I go to trial, get convicted, spend the rest of my life in a cell. And us? You go home, raise your son, forget this happened. I can't forget you. You have to." The guard taps his watch. Time's up. Kalia stands. Han does too. They stare at each other through plexiglass and regret. "Thank you," she whispers, "for everything." Han nods once. She hangs up the phone, turns to leave. "Kalia." She looks back. Han's hand presses against the glass. She mirrors it, palm to palm, separated by barriers they can't cross. "Keep him safe," Han says. Then the guards take him away. She watches until he disappears through the steel door, knowing she'll probably never see him again. Should she testify against the man who saved her son? Tell me what you'd do. 2 weeks later, Kalia stands in front of the courthouse. Protesters line both sides. Signs scream opposite truths. "Lock up the monster." "He saved a child." "Justice for victims." "Free Han Jun-seok." The city can't decide if he's a savior or a demon. Maybe he's both. Detective Park appears beside her. You ready? No. You don't have to do this. Yes, I do. Inside, the courtroom feels like a tomb. Wood panels, high ceilings, judgment carved into every surface. Han sits at the defendant's table in a suit his lawyer brought, hair neat, posture perfect, eyes empty. He doesn't look at her when she enters. The prosecutor calls her to the stand. She swears to tell the truth, sits, grips the chair arms. Mrs. Monroe, the prosecutor begins, can you describe the night of October 12th when you first encountered the defendant? She tells them, the rain, Zaire dying, the stranger who appeared like a ghost. And did you feel threatened? No. The defendant forced you into his vehicle, correct? He gave me a choice. Let my son die or trust him. That's not a choice. That's coercion. That's survival. The prosecutor's jaw tightens. Mrs. Monroe, are you aware of the defendant's criminal history? I know what the news says. 14 murders. Extortion, drug trafficking, money laundering. I know he saved my son when nobody else would. Murmurs ripple through the courtroom. The judge bangs his gavel. Order. The prosecutor tries again. Did the defendant ever threaten you? No. Threaten your son? He protected him. By involving him in a violent confrontation at Pier 7. Kalia's hands shake. My ex-boyfriend involved him. Han brought him home. At what cost? The defendant sustained life-threatening injuries. Your son witnessed extreme violence. You're calling that protection? She looks at Han. He's watching her now. Expression unreadable. I'm calling it sacrifice, she says quietly. The courtroom goes silent. He didn't have to help us, Kalia continues. We were strangers. He owed us nothing. But he risked everything, his freedom, his life, to save a child he'd never met. Her voice breaks. That doesn't erase his crimes, but it means something. The prosecutor straightens his papers. No further questions. Han's lawyer stands for cross-examination. Mrs. Monroe, in your opinion, did the defendant act with malicious intent toward you or your son? No. Did he demonstrate care for your child's well-being? Yes. Would your son be alive without his intervention? Kalia's throat closes. No. Thank you. No further questions. She steps down, walks past Han. Their eyes meet for 1 second. He mouths 2 words. Thank you. Outside, reporters swarm. Questions fly. Cameras flash. Do you think he's innocent? Will you attend the sentencing? Do you have feelings for him? Kalia pushes through without answering, gets into a taxi, gives her address. Her phone buzzes. Text from unknown number. You made a mistake defending him. Her blood goes cold. Is she in danger for speaking the truth? Drop your thoughts below. The verdict comes down on a Tuesday. Guilty on 9 counts. Not guilty on 5 due to insufficient evidence. The courtroom erupts, half celebrating, half outraged. The judge bangs his gavel until silence returns. Sentencing will be held in 2 weeks. Kalia watches from the back row as guards lead Han away in cuffs. He doesn't look back, doesn't search for her in the crowd, just walks through the door like he expected this all along. Outside, media chaos, cameras, microphones, reporters shouting questions she can't hear over the noise. She pushes through, gets to the street, keeps walking. Her phone rings. Zaire's school. Her heart stops. Hello? Mrs. Monroe, this is Principal Kim. Zaire is fine, but she hesitates. There are men outside the school. They're not approaching, just watching. We thought you should know. Kalia runs. 15 minutes. She's there in 10. The principal meets her at the entrance. They left 5 minutes ago. Black car, tinted windows. Did you call the police? They said without a direct threat, there's nothing they can do. Kalia finds Zaire in his classroom, pulls him into her arms. Mommy. You're squeezing too tight. Sorry, baby. That night she can't sleep. Every sound makes her jump. Every shadow looks wrong. She checks the locks 3 times, keeps Zaire's door open, leaves the lights on. Her phone buzzes at 2 a.m. Unknown number. She almost doesn't answer. Hello? Breathing, heavy, deliberate. Then a voice, not Dante's, someone new. Your friend made enemies, the voice says. Calm, cold. Those enemies don't die in silence. Who is this? Someone who remembers what Han Jun-seok did to our family. He's in prison. Leave us alone. Prison is temporary. The voice drops lower. Revenge is forever. The line goes dead. Kalia sits in the dark, phone trembling in her hand. She calls Detective Park. He arrives within the hour, takes her statement, promises protection. We can put you in a safe house, he offers. For how long? Until we identify the threat. And if you can't? He doesn't answer. 3 days later, a letter arrives. No return address. Plain envelope. Inside, 1 sentence. He can't protect you from inside a cell. Kalia burns it in the sink, but the message is clear. Han's enemies know where she lives, and they're coming. The sentencing hearing lasts 17 minutes. The judge reads Han's crimes, his history, his lack of remorse. 25 years. No possibility of parole for 15. The gavel falls. Han doesn't react, doesn't speak, just stands as guards approach. Kalia watches from the gallery, Zaire beside her, both silent. Han turns before they lead him out, finds her eyes across the courtroom. Mouths 3 words. Protect the child. Then he's gone. Outside, rain falls. Kalia holds Zaire's hand as they walk to the bus stop. No money for taxis anymore. The cafe fired her. Too much drama, they said. Too much attention. Her phone buzzes. Unknown number again. She doesn't answer. It buzzes again, and again. Finally, she picks up. Stop calling. A different voice this time. Female, young, scared. Mrs. Monroe? My name is Jiwoo. I worked for Mr. Han. Kalia stops walking. What do you want? To warn you. There are people who blamed Mr. Han for their family members' deaths. People he crossed. They've been waiting for him to be locked up so they can... Her voice breaks. They're coming for everyone he protected. We're nobody. He barely knows us. You testified for him. You defended him publicly. That makes you a target. Rain soaks through Kalia's jacket. Zaire shivers beside her. What am I supposed to do? Run. Tonight. Don't tell anyone where you're going. I can't just... They're watching your apartment right now. Kalia spins around. Across the street. A black sedan. Tinted windows. Engine running. Her blood stops moving. Who are they? Does it matter? Just go. Please. The line goes dead. Kalia grabs Zaire's hand. We need to walk. Fast. Where are we going? Somewhere safe. She pulls him down a side street, away from the sedan. Her heart pounds. Her mind races. They need money, passports, a plan. Her phone buzzes again. She looks at the screen. 1 new message. No number. Just 4 words. Enemies don't die quietly. She looks back. The black sedan turns the corner, follows them. Slow, steady, patient. Kalia runs, pulls Zaire into an alley, through a market, past vendors and tourists and people who don't see them. The sedan appears at the end of the street. She ducks into a subway entrance, buys tickets with shaking hands. They board the first train. Through the window, she sees the sedan parked outside. A man steps out. Tall, Korean, face she doesn't recognize. He watches the train pull away. Doesn't chase, just watches. Because he knows. She can run. But Busan isn't that big. And they have time. 3 stops later, Kalia gets off. Finds a hotel. Pays cash for 1 night. Locks the door. Pushes furniture against it. Holds Zaire while he cries. I'm scared, Mommy. Me too, baby. Why are they doing this? Because sometimes protecting people you love makes you enemies with people you don't know. Her phone, now turned off, sits on the nightstand. Outside the window, Busan glitters. Somewhere in this city, Han Jun-seok sits in a cell, powerless to help them. Somewhere closer, men with old grudges sharpen new knives, and Kalia realizes with cold certainty Han saved her son from one monster, but created 100 others in the process. At 3 a.m., she hears footsteps in the hallway, slow, deliberate. Stopping outside her door, the doorknob turns, locked. A pause, then a piece of paper slides under the door. She waits until the footsteps fade before checking. One sentence, handwritten. You can't hide from what he started. She looks at Zaire, sleeping finally, small and innocent and unaware, and makes a choice. Tomorrow they leave Korea. Tonight she doesn't sleep. She watches the door and waits for dawn that might not come. What should Kalia do next? Run forever or fight back? Drop your answer and let me know if you want part 2 where the real war begins.